Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I can't believe it's week 11 already. Seems like just yesterday I was betting on Russian table tennis during the pandemic, hoping and praying we would get back to a time in this country where we could bet on the good stuff on a regular basis. And we did that. We've gone through baseball season. We've gone through March Madness. But let's be honest, no matter what season you're into, you always look to football season.
Yeah.
And damn, here we are, week 11. My name is Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall, right across from me. We've got some big-time matchups in the AFC coming up this weekend, Rob. We're going to talk a little bit about Kansas City at Buffalo. We're going to talk a little bit about Baltimore at Pittsburgh. But before we do any of that, let's cut through the bull crap. I believe it was Long Duck Dong and 16 Candles who said, and I quote, "No more Yankee my wanky. I want action tonight."
I want action tonight. Satisfaction all night.
I'm here for these good Thursday night games.
Yeah, and this is, didn't we get a good one here? Was it last week we got a good one?
Yeah, we've had Ravens and Bengals.
Yeah, that's right. That was last week.
And this week, Washington at Philadelphia. The Eagles are 3.5-point home favorites. The over-under is 44. And I'd like to point out, 13 of the last 17 we have given on this program on Thursday night have been winner chicken dinners.
You'd be a gajillionaire.
We have cashed 13 out of 17 picks and prop bets on Thursday nights. So let's get down to brass tacks here. Last week, Jaden Daniels probably had his worst game of the season as the quarterback of the Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to say.
The Redskins, Hammer, just say it. They're the Redskins.
68% passer rating last week, barely over 200 yards. And look, I get Pittsburgh has a really good defense, but he also missed a lot of throws. And that Washington offensive line is pretty beat up right now. That's what happens when you play the Steelers, right? The Steelers physically maul you. They beat you up. And now you've got that same team, after getting just in a street fight with the Steelers, losing in a heartbreaking, emotional way where some moron falls for the hard count at the end of the game. You got a short week where you're traveling to a pretty hostile environment in Philadelphia. A short week with a rookie quarterback on the road in a divisional game against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Man, I don't like the sounds of that. And let's talk about the Washington defense, too. Steelers should have won that game by more. They had a fumble at the 1-yard line. They left a few points on the board here. I like the direction where we're going here. The Eagles are at home, taking on a Washington squad that just had the hell beat out of them. And it's a short week on the road with a rookie quarterback. Jaden Daniels is probably going to be the best quarterback of this group, but last week he wasn't very good. And I like what the Eagles are starting to do right now. So give me the Eagles at home tonight. We're going to lay 3.5. Washington on a short week, bad offensive line, beat up. I like the Eagles secondary. One of the best in the league against defending the pass. If they can make Washington one-dimensional, we cash this ticket. John Fetterman, who are we taking?
The Eagles are so much better than the Eagles.
We're going to lay 3.5 with the Eagles. They're so much better than the Eagles, Rob.
Two things. One, I love that bet. I was so jealous that you got the Thursday night game because I wanted to take that. And two, the best part of that clip that never gets played is after he says the Eagles the second time, he pauses, and then he realizes he said something wrong, but his brain was too fried, so he just goes, nah.
That's one of the most powerful men in our country.
That's right.
He's a United States Senator, one of the most powerful men, Rob.
I know I said something wrong, but I can't figure out what it was, so nah.
So give me the Eagles minus 3.5. And how about some prop bets tonight for Thursday night? Devontae Smith, wide receiver of the Eagles. We're going to go over 52.5 receiving yards. He's got 64 or more in 6 of the last 7 home games in Philly. The dude shows up at home. All we need is 52.5. I like that. On the other side, because I like to make a pick on each side, so you always have something to root for when you're watching these games.
Love it.
Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin, over 4.5 receptions, total catches. Over his last 5 games, he's had 5 or more catches in 4 of those. And he's no doubt the number one option when you look at the amount of targets he gets compared to others. It's not even close. And in 10 career games against Philadelphia, he's gone over 4.5 receptions, 9 out of 10. So we're going to go over 4.5 with McLaurin tonight. And here's one, if you want to get cute, you can do this. It's not an official play from me, but since we're playing with profits here, let's get nuts, as a wise man once said. How about last touchdown of the game?
Ooh.
Jalen Hurts at plus 450. Now, he has scored like 3 or 4 of their final touchdowns in the game this season. You've also got Devontae Smith. Twice this year has caught the final touchdown. His number is plus 1050.
Ooh.
So if you take $5 or $10 and put it on both of those guys, if just one of them wins, you pull a profit. So we're playing with profits. Let's get cute tonight, shall we? Put a little bit on Jalen Hurts' final touchdown and a little bit on Devontae Smith' final touchdown. We're rooting for Smith at 1050, but even if it's Hurts, if it's a tush push at the 1, we're still pulling a profit.
And what a roller coaster of emotion you just created for our audience, because you could theoretically, the Eagles have the ball, they go down, they score. Let's say that gives them a 2-touchdown lead, right? Puts the game out of whack. Let's say you get it with Smith or Hurts and euphoria. Then you immediately have to swing back into no garbage mode.
Right.
And boy, the roller coaster of emotions that last touchdown puts on you. I love it.
It just makes it fun, man.
It does.
It really does. So those are my plays for tonight. Rob, let's check in with a team that it feels like they should be better than what they are. Their record should be higher than what it is. Cincinnati at the Chargers. The Bengals at the Chargers. The Chargers are a 1.5-point home favorite. The over-under right around 47.5.
All right, so as all you longtime listeners know, I always take the Sunday and Monday night games. That way I prolong the suffering of potentially getting the golden sombrero into the evening Sunday and into Monday. Okay, so the under's 47.5. This line started at 45 and has moved up pretty quickly. And there's a real chance that since this game is in Los Angeles, it could turn into a track meet. But I'm going to take the risk because the Bengals defense stinks. I get that. But the Chargers aren't exactly world beaters out there on offense. And I think Harbaugh's going to try to run the ball and keep the clock moving to keep Burrow off the field. The Chargers, their offense stinks, but their defense is really good. They're only giving up 13.1 points per game. But, Hammer, the real reason is I'm taking this game is I haven't bet on the Chargers all year. And I try to lose on every team at least once throughout the course of the year. So let's get the Chargers out of the way. I'm going under 47.5 points.
I mean, that's a really good defense at home right there with the Chargers. I like that one.
Final score, 89-67.
I think the signature game on the slate this weekend is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
This has playoff implications on it, right? The Bills are a 2.5-point home favorite. Over-under is 46. And if you think about it, this game could determine home field advantage in January.
Yeah.
Both of these teams are going to win their division. Both of these teams are going to make it into the playoffs and probably cruise until they meet each other. And that home field advantage in January is huge because both of these fan bases are nuts. If you got to play in Kansas City, it's one of the loudest joints in the league. And if you got to go to Buffalo, you got these big, fat, gross Bill fans. They're putting people through tables. They're having sex out in the parking lot. Gross Bill stuff. And what I love about this game is this is one of those games where the Chiefs will actually get up for it. You kind of get the feeling, I don't want to say bored is the right word, but they kind of cruise through a lot of these games in the regular season. but there's a couple games that Patrick Mahomes looks at, that Travis Kelce looks at and says, okay, let's go. And I think this is one of those games. And I think we're going to need that because I'm taking the over in this one. Over 46. The Bills are going to do their thing at home. Kansas City hasn't been great offensively this year by their standards. They haven't been. But again, this is one of those games where I think Patrick Mahomes looks at Travis Kelce and says, all right, big boy, we ride in this one. Let's go. It might be a slow start. Take a look at maybe first half under. But the second half, I think you're going to see some good old-fashioned gunslinging by Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, a couple dudes that do not care if they throw interceptions. They want to win. This could be about home field advantage, depending on what happens with Kansas City the rest of the way. I think you get some points. I think you get over 46.
Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet your captain, Captain Over.
Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Captain, your navigator, Mr. Unger, and your first officer, Mr. Dunn.
Unger, over. Over, done.
All right, the other big game in the AFC is the Baltimore Ravens at Pittsburgh. The Steelers. Somehow this is their first division game of the year.
You want a fun fact on the Steelers and the Ravens, Hammer? You know I'm a huge Chris Hansen fan.
Yes.
The To Catch a Predator guy.
Dateline NBC guy, right?
Several years ago, about 10 years ago, he restarted his investigations. And I can't remember what network. It was not one of the main networks, but he redid his investigations. And they did a sting, I think it was in Connecticut. And one of the guys who got arrested, his excuse on why he came to the house was he was just there to watch the Steelers and the Ravens game. So every year, my wife and I, because she's a huge To Catch a Predator fan too, we always wait with great anticipation for the Steelers and the Ravens game.
That show used to be wild.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was a dude in a tree costume outside. And the best was when they went to Columbus, Ohio. And every single one of these perverts that was going in to meet a little girl or a little boy, they all had like a porno mustache and Buckeyes gear on, right?
So anyway, I always have great fondness, and I'm very curious what our pro is going to pick because we love the Steelers and the Ravens game.
Our NFL pro handicapper is Kenny Britt of KB Sports. KB, what is on your board for this weekend?
Well, there's a few good games this weekend. Everybody's going to be concentrating on Buffalo and Kansas City, obviously. But as the resident Pittsburgh Steelers fan...
Oh, Jesus, here we go. Here we go. I feel like the guys in the barber shop at Coming to America. Oh, here we go. There's day one. There's day one. Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano. What do we got?
All right. This is going to be a great game. They're both fighting for number one seed, you know, in the AFC. Fighting for the division. Both coaches respect each other, but all the players hate each other. This total is 48.5. The last 7 meetings has gone under. And when I mean under, these unders have been 38, 39 points, and they've gone under those totals. This game's going under this weekend, guys. It's 48.5. I know Baltimore is looking good offensively. Pittsburgh's looked decent lately. It's all out the door. It's all out the window this weekend. It's Pittsburgh, Baltimore. They hate each other. They're out there to hurt each other. Ball game's going under this weekend, Jason.
So where are you at with Mike Tomlin being a home underdog? And I'm always been a sucker for divisional home dogs anyway, but when it's Mike Tomlin, it feels like there's a lot of momentum behind the Steelers as a straight-up dog this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been on that train for how many years now?
Right.
The Mike Tomlin underdog train. Yeah. I mean, when I saw the line at 3.5, I was a little surprised. Part of my process, I make the lines before I look at what Vegas's lines are, and I had the game at a pick. So when I saw Baltimore at 3.5, I was a little surprised by that. So, you know, value-wise, but to your point, value-wise, you've got to take Pittsburgh plus the points. And even, you know, a little sprinkle on the money line, just because Mike Tomlin, a home dog in a division game, everything you just said is 100%. But the under, I am all over the under. I love it. I had it pegged at 44 before the lines came out. 48.5 is a big number for these two teams.
Steelers are 26-3 against the spread as home underdogs in the Mike Tomlin era. 77%, Kenny. But you're looking at the total. You're saying this goes under.
It's going under. Absolutely going under. But, man, what a stat you just pulled out. Wow.
If somebody wants to subscribe to you and your services, if somebody wants to reap the rewards of your amazing run you've been on, where can they go?
Right, guys. Facebook, KB Sports. You'll find me right there wearing my big yellow Steelers hat. I am hitting 60% on the year, but NFL, guys, I'm crushing the NFL. I'm 41-21. That is over 66% in the NFL this year. You know, those first 3 weeks was upset city, and I maintained, made it through the storm, and hitting over 66% in the NFL this year, guys.
And if you can't find KB Sports on Facebook or Twitter, reach out to us here at the Degenerates Next Door. We'll get you in contact. KB, we appreciate the time, brother.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
All right, Rob, let's talk about your Chicago Bears. And again, nobody could ever accuse you of being bandwagon, because why would anybody hitch their wagon to being a Bears fan if you didn't have to?
That's right.
If it wasn't part of your DNA.
That's correct.
And it's a big one for you. It's the rivalry game, right? Green Bay, -5 at Chicago. The over-under is 40.5.
Ah, yes, Hammer, it's that time of year where the Bears get their butts handed to them by Green Bay at home, and I'm thoroughly embarrassed and pissed off.
You're kind of that way all the time, though.
Well, that's true.
Like, I'm saying this as your friend. You're what a lot of people would say, an unlikable dick. And I'm using air quotes, so it's okay.
The Bears are a dumpster fire. They fired their offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams stinks. I told you so. So I'm hedging my bets here, and you know I do this sometimes, Hammer.
You're a smart man.
I'm not going to be nearly as pissed off as in years past when we get our butts kicked by Green Bay, because I'm hopefully going to win some money for our audience.
And I like it when you say we're, because some people have a problem with it. No, you're a fan. You buy the tickets. You buy the merch. You're vested in. It's a we. I'm with you.
Right. So, I do this all the time when it's I'll do a straight money line bet on whoever the Bears are playing. Can't really do that here because we're playing with the spread. The Packers were just awful in their defeat against the Lions. 10 penalties, 3 of 12 on third down. And while their defense didn't play too bad, they got 0 turnovers. I would have taken this line all the way up to 7. The Bears stink. S-T-I-N-K, stink. I'm going to hedge against my misery. I'll take the Packers laying the 5.
Caleb Williams regressing?
Stinks.
Okay.
Wait, 2 things. Now I'm going. 2 things. One, he was never that good, okay? And I was one of the people that was like, you should draft Jaden Daniels. And the Bears were like, no. We're so good at drafting quarterbacks in the past. We got this.
Okay, take Jaden Daniels out of the equation, because it seems like he's kind of separated himself. Would you rather have Caleb Williams or Drake May?
Drake May.
Okay.
The guy paints his fingernails.
And on that note, we're going to take a little time out here. When we come back, more plays for you. We've got some of the games that, let's be honest, feature some god-awful teams, but the money you can win spins the same as if you're winning that bet on the Steelers and Ravens or Chiefs and Bills. Come on back. We'll talk about it. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door. Look, a lot of people want to watch the Ravens and the Steelers, or better yet, the Chiefs at the Bills. This is the NFL version of a degenerate special, the Rams at the Patriots. Now, I know the Rams are getting healthy and they're not as bad as they were earlier in the year, but this game stinks, and it's going to be in Foxborough too. So the Rams are a 4.5-point road favorite. The over-under is sitting at 43.5. Let's make this as simple as we can. The Rams are not very good on the road. They're 1-3. I know they've had injuries, but it is what it is. And now they're flying cross-country to play outdoors in November against the Patriots' defense that isn't awful. But the Patriots really aren't good anywhere. Drake May, I think, is going to be good one day. He's promising, but he's not there right now. 4 of the last 5 Rams games have gone under. And I sure as hell am not betting the over on this Patriots offense. Does anybody think the Patriots can put up 20 points in this game? And for argument's sake, let's just say that they do. And it's 23-20. That means the under still cashes. This total, it is too damn high.
Too damn high.
Under 43.5. That is my play for this one.
I love that you had the guts to pull the trigger on that. I wanted to bet on this game, and then I thought I would have to care about it, and I could not bring myself to care about the Rams and the Patriots.
That money spends the same.
I know.
Let's talk about another game that, thank God, was flexed out of prime time. Whoever the network executive was that saved us from a prime time Colts-Jets matchup, buy that person a steak. The Jets are a 4-point home favorite against Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts. And the over-under is 44. Rob Kendall, I think it's fair to say both of these teams are struggling. Joe Namath, your thoughts?
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Walk me through this one.
Well, I had sent you, when they announced that flex, I'd sent you that video of that guy who appeared to be a little inebriated on the airplane shouting, "I want to shake that man's hand."
Yes. That's what needs to happen to the network executive that saved us from this in prime time.
I want to shake that man's hand. All right, so weekly disclaimer, I'm getting totally screwed having to bet the Colts each week. I do it. Tony Katz is the morning show host here in Indianapolis on WIBC. He gives us a segment at the end of his show on Friday where we talk about sports betting, and one of the games we're required to do is the Colts. We would do, by the way, if you're a radio executive and you have a local station, we would be happy to bet your team and come on your show as well.
We'll do it in a fun way where nobody else can copy what we do, man.
Now, I freely admit I have no idea what I'm doing with the Colts, nor does anyone else, if they're being remotely honest. It's hard to give you facts and figures because the Colts are so unpredictable. Who's playing QB, how that person's going to play. So I'll just work off this. The most points the Jets have scored since September is 22. The Colts defense isn't awful. I think they can keep the Jets from scoring. I'll take a guess. Maybe the Jets can do the same since Richardson is playing for the Colts, and he'll probably do something stupid multiple times down around the end zone. I'll take the under with the disclaimers I do each week. The Colts, and betting the Colts is a complete guess.
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
What you just said may be the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'm with you.
Yeah!
Listen, you say you don't know anything at all about the Indianapolis Colts. I think you're full of crap. I think you know exactly what you're doing. I think it's an act. We know what we're getting with the Indianapolis Colts offense. And it sure as hell ain't points. This is a team that has not gone over 20 points in damn near a month. So again, another one of these games where let's just say it's 24-20. That's a shootout with these teams, and that just gives you a push.
Yeah.
That's a push at the bare minimum. I'm with you on this one. We're going under 44. I'm doubling down with Rob. All right, back to you, Rob. The Falcons at the Broncos. Broncos always tricky. You don't know what you're going to get out of Bo Nix. Broncos at home, 2.5-point favorites, over under 44.5.
Do you ever put together a bet and then you get done with it and you go, why did I do that?
Oh, I did that last week with the Chiefs. I knew the Chiefs don't cover 8 points, but I tried to fade Bo Nix because Bo Nix stinks. And lo and behold, he acted like Tom Brady last week in a game they should have won.
Yeah, and then you get done with it and you're just like, I've already put all this effort into trying to make my thought what I thought it should be, and it's just too much effort to undo that, so I'll just go with it. I feel like that's where I'm at with this one. I'm calling this the bounce back bowl.
All right.
Look,
all right.
The Falcons can't possibly be as bad as they were last week. They were just awful against the Saints. They had tons of opportunity to score touchdowns and either got 3 or, in some cases, 0. By the way, did you see that kicker for the Falcons, whatever his name is, cost him the game, and then the owner was patting him on the back like, there, that's okay? What the complete crap? These are multi-million-dollar athletes. The guy screwed you.
I want the Deebo Samuel treatment where you're smacking the long snapper and you're yelling at the kicker.
It's not okay. You cost the team the game. You should feel like complete crap and you should be ashamed of yourself. Anyway, here's what I'm doing. I'm betting based on the hammer logic, which is the better quarterback is getting points. I tip my hat to you. That was your theory for years and years and years. definitely better quarterback in terms of Kirk Cousins because he's not playing in prime time, is getting points. I'll take the Falcons getting 2.5.
Let's go. I'm with you. Let's talk about the Seahawks and the 49ers. The Niners at home, 6.5 points, home favorite. Over-under is 48. San Francisco owns Geno Smith. They own Geno Smith. I think they've bought stock. 6 straight wins against Geno. And we've reached that point in the season. We mentioned this earlier in the show. We're at that point in the year where it's go time, right? We're late in the year. The 49ers know that the division is on the line. They may have had some hiccups along the way, but they're starting to get healthy now. McCaffrey coming back. Deebo Samuel playing again, yelling at the long snapper, yelling at the kicker. And their defense last week did a damn good job against a pretty good passing attack from Tampa Bay. So I like this number here. I'm going to lay 6.5 with San Francisco. I think we're at the point in the season now where it's winning time. The good teams start to separate themselves. And Seattle, they were hot early on, and they've kind of fallen back a little bit. And you can get less than a touchdown with the 49ers at home. Let's do that. Minus 6.5 with Frisco. All right, going to take another timeout. When we come back, Mr. Monday Night will make an appearance. We'll take a trip to the prop shop. We will have a little ballin' on a budget. Do not go anywhere. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, I'm Jason Hammer. I do the Hammer and Nigel show in Indianapolis. Rob Kendall from the Kendall and Casey show. He also is a #1 rated radio host, former elected official as well. Now, all of those accolades aside, I think the thing that you should be the most proud of is your title of Mr. Monday Night. Nobody brings you more dubs, more wins on Monday night than Rob Kendall does. And Rob, we got an interesting one here. I think it was a lot bigger in the off season, but we've got a little matchup down in the Lone Star State of Texas.
The stars at night are big and bright.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
Houston Texans, 7.5-point road favorites at Jerry's World against the Cowboys, over under 42.5.
This is so hard because I got to pick the Monday night game. But what do we do with this? Because on one hand, I don't think Cooper Rush is as bad as he was last week. On the other hand, he looked really, 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 really bad last week.
Yeah, did not look good.
And the fact that they took him out and put what's-his-face in, Lance, tells me they might be looking for something else, which thinks maybe he was as bad as they thought he was as bad as he played last week. All right, here's what I know. The Texans have gone under more than any team in the league this year. Dallas only got 6 against the Eagles, which is middle of the road on defense. The Texans' defense is actually pretty good. I think Dallas is going to struggle in the end zone. So that being said, I'm going to look forward to Dallas scoring 35 and being done at halftime, but I'm going under 42.5.
Under 42.5 down in Jerry's World on a little Monday night. By the way, every time I see the Cowboy Stadium, and I know it's a totally different stadium now than what they used to play in. Remember the old TV show Dallas?
Yeah.
Like they'd have that aerial shot and the big window of the stadium, you know, the hole in the roof. You could look down. You hear that iconic Dallas theme song being played. I got to thinking about this because my grandma was huge into Dallas.
Yeah.
Friday nights were Dallas and Dukes of Hazzard on CBS.
She liked Bobby Ewing.
She liked Bobby Ewing. She liked J.R. Ewing. J.R. Ewing, one of the great characters of all time.
Totally, 100%.
100%. So Larry Hagman played the role of J.R. Ewing.
Yeah.
Also had big success on I Dream of Jeannie.
That's right.
What other actors would you put in that conversation, or even above Larry Hagman, that have had 2 mega hits on television like that?
Frasier comes to mind.
Okay.
Kelsey Grammer.
Now, I will throw this out there that Frasier was never like the main star of Cheers.
That's true.
Yes, he's had multiple shows that were very successful. But I'm talking about like J.R. Ewing was Dallas.
Yeah, that's true.
And he was also like an integral part, the main part of I Dream of Jeannie.
You'll love this because you're a hillbilly. Andy Griffith. Matlock and Andy Griffith.
That's strong. That's real strong. Mary Tyler Moore.
That's a good point.
She comes to the table. Bob Newhart.
It's true.
But Bob Newhart kind of plays the same role pretty much in everything. But you look at the Bob Newhart show and Newhart. What about Michael J. Fox? Because he carried Family Ties. But then you had Spin City, which he was also really good in.
Yeah.
John Ritter didn't quite have the second success that he had with Three's Company. But, man, he did Hooperman. He did that one show, Rules About Dating My Teenage Daughter, before he passed away. John Ritter was hilarious. Like, John Ritter and Chris Farley did physical comedy better than anybody.
Here's another one. Tony Danza, because he was on Taxi, and then he was on Who's the Boss.
That's right. So hit us up on our Twitter X, the Degenerates Next Door. What actor deserves to be in that conversation for carrying two major successful television programs? While you think about that, I'm going to grab the keys and drive us down to the prop shop.
Yeah!
I'll take you to the
Prop
shop. I'll let you lick the lollipop. Go ahead, girl, don't you stop. Keep on going till you hit the
prop. All right, gave you some for the Thursday night game already.
Can I just say something really weird? And I know this is going to sound weird, but I mean this as a compliment. So, like 2 nights ago, my daughter has been a little under the weather, and so, part of parenting when you have a sick kid is you get up with them and you take care of them, and then they go back to sleep and you can't sleep. And so, like at 2 a.m, I was laying there looking up at the ceiling, and in my head, I kept thinking of the song, I'll take you to the prop. Like I just kept hearing you saying prop in my head over and over and over and for like an hour. Instead of counting sheep, I was just hearing you do that prop shop song. Is that weird?
Yes. Yes, it is. I gave you a couple picks already for the big extravaganza on Thursday night. Devontae Smith over 52.5 yards. Terry McLaurin over 4.5 receptions. And again, since we're playing with profits here, we're going to get a little nuts. We're going to get a little cute here. Final touchdown. We're going to sprinkle a little on Jalen Hurts and a little on Devontae Smith. If either one score the final touchdown, we pull a profit. Now, as you know, I am not a parlay guy, Rob. I think parlay bets are sucker bets. I only do it on special occasions. But tonight, on this very program, inside the prop shop, I've got a prop shop parlay. It's the interception prop shop parlay.
Oh!
Anthony Richardson, over 0.5 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, over 0.5 interceptions. Jameis Winston, over 0.5 interceptions. You put all three of those together to throw at least one pick each. $10 pays out $35.
Wow.
And I know this is kind of your thing. You're the balling on a budget guy. You're the parlay guy. But there's a lot of interceptions between these three quarterbacks right there. So put them all together, and $10 could turn into $35.
Yeah.
Now, Rob Kendall, a couple weeks ago, you hit the ballin' on a budget parlay. And for those who don't know, Rob Kendall is the cheapest man alive. Like, Rob Kendall will make a $1 bet, a $2 bet. If given the option of going to McDonald's and getting extra fries, extra sauce, he says no. He's the cheapest bastard you will ever find, and nobody balls on a budget better than Rob Kendall.
This happens to be a $100 minimum bet table. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at one of our lower stakes tables.
Oh! All right, you cheapskates. It's time for Rob Kendall's Ballin' on a Budget.
All right.
Tight with a dollar.
Cheap ass. What are we looking at?
Well, you know how many times this week I've eaten the Campbell's Chili Mac because it's so cheap? My wife's like, that's bad for your health. But it's good for my wallet. All right, real quick, this is part of Ballin' on a Budget, but can we talk about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson for a minute?
Okay.
Just real quick.
The big fight on Friday on Netflix?
This is part of Ballin' on a Budget, but I'm hitting this on its own. I know there's no such thing as free money, but you and I have talked about this. I cannot believe Jake Paul is only a minus 220 favorite over Mike Tyson.
Now, minus 220 is a decent number. I mean, there's a lot of juice there.
Yeah, but I mean, he's so much younger, and like he's so much more active as a fighter. And you and I were talking about how goofy the rules are in this thing. I don't see how I can lose.
The gloves are not going to be like regular boxing gloves. They're a little bit bigger. They're 14s and not 12s. And also, you've got the rounds. They're only 2 minutes in length as opposed to 3 minutes. And there's only 8 rounds and not 12.
Yeah, but you and I were talking about this. So Jake Paul makes money off the continuance. What I mean by is he needs to continually have a new fight. Like he's selling the next thing. He's not going to put himself somewhere where he's going to risk losing to a 58-year-old guy.
Tyson is damn near 60, and a couple of years ago, he went bankrupt. Now, he's dug himself out of the hole. He's got some millions in the bank account now, but this may be the last chance for a big payday for old Iron Mike.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I think you think he might be pulling a who was the guy that took the plunge? I can't even remember.
Oh, Peter McNeely taking a dive against Tyson in that first fight? Yeah, I think Tyson's on the payroll. I think Tyson may take a dive here. I think it's scripted. I think it's like WWE, which Jake's brother is a star in, mind you. I don't think Tyson wins this. There's no gain if he wins. If Tyson loses, everybody's going to say, well, hell, he's 60 and he got a fat paycheck. And Jake Paul gets to continue his media career, his boxing career. If Tyson knocks this kid out in the first round, like that's it for Jake Paul.
Yeah, I don't see any way Jake Paul's going to lose this fight or would put himself in a position to lose this fight. I think the reason the line's not bigger is I think there's people from our generation who are nostalgia betting this. Like, what if Tyson gets him? But that's where it comes back to with the gloves. It's going to be harder to knock this dude out with the like you were saying, those funny gloves that they have at halftime at the NFL games, you know?
Right.
I know there's no such thing as free money, but wow, I am just shocked the odds are not greater in favor of Jake Paul.
So you've got Jake Paul on your balling on a budget. What else?
Yeah, so that's minus 220. The Lions are minus 950 at home against the Jags. The Dolphins are minus 330 against the Raiders. And just for fun, because the fight is Friday, the NFL Sunday, I needed something for Saturday. Notre Dame, just for fun, is minus 2,300 against Virginia. So Jake Paul minus over Mike Tyson, Lions over Jags, Dolphins over Raiders, and Notre Dame over Virginia, all money line. You put them together, you get plus 210, which a $10 bet would pay you $21.
Double your money. There you go. And since we're talking about it, you brought up nostalgia. You brought up Mike Tyson. Can we have great moments in Mike Tyson history here? Can we go back to the interview that he did with a local TV station in New York? Escalated quickly.
You take into the ring a lot of rage. Does that work for you or does it work against you at times?
You know, who cares? We're in a fight anyway. What does it matter?
Well, for example, rage against Evander Holyfield worked against you.
Well, it. It's a fight, so whatever happens, happens.
Mike, why do you have to talk like that?
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you. Do you have a problem? Turn off your station.
You know what? I think we'll end the discussion right now.
Then we could.
You got it. Have a nice fight, Mike.
Off.
That's live on local television in New York.
I just love the phrase, turn off your station.
Great moments in Mike Tyson history. Never forget this interview with Jim Gray after a fight.
Mike, were you really sick this week? What was the problem?
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
That is so good. I am going to use that next time I call into work. Like next time I call into my radio show and I'm not feeling well, I'm just going to say, I broke my back.
Mike, were you really sick this week? What was the problem?
I broke my back.
And then if they ask for further explanation.
Portion.
Spinal.
Mike, were you really sick this week? What was the problem?
I broke my back.
I could listen to that all day.
Spinal.
Let's recap the board here. I got the Eagles minus 3.5 tonight. The Chiefs and the Bills over 46. Rams and the Patriots under 43.5. Colts Jets under 44. Frisco minus 6.5. And if you want the props, just go back in the show and listen to those.
Yeah, I got the Falcons getting 2.5 at the Broncos. Chargers and Bengals on Sunday Night Football under 47.5. Packers laying 5 against the Bears. The Cowboys and Texans under 42.5. And the Colts and Jets under 44. And if you want to have some fun on Friday, I'm in on Jake Paul minus 220 against Mike Tyson.
Spinal.
For Rob Kendall, for our professional handicapper, Kenny Britt of KB Sports, my name is Jason Hammer. Good luck, everybody. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor.